Okay. So homework number 4 is just posted. Okay. Um, I want you to complete this homework number 4. This gives you uh, a little bit of challenges, but once you complete this, you may be able to learn a lot, and that'll be your skill sets. The idea here, I want you to create 2 tables. Oh, by the way, I forgot to add the attachment of those 2 CSV files, comma separated value files. So I want to, I'll ask you to use it. So those 2 files are also posted. So if you look at this homework assignments, I think it is in here. There's a CSV files, 2 CSV files. This is a pretty big files. So your code needs to read these CSV files, and data should be populated on your database. Okay, I think it is almost impossible to do that manually. That is whole points that I ask you to do. If you open these CSV files, let me first show to you how the files look like. So employee files, if I want to open it using Microsoft Excel, because there's a CSV files, it's a little bit comparables. So how many employees here? We have, I think, about 2,000 employees there. Okay. Yeah, 1,500, about 1,500 employees. And there's an employee ID in serial number, and there's an employee name, EMP names, and then development ID. I think some of the project developments, project ID, I would say, and gender ID, 0 and 1. I do not know which one is 0, which one is 1. It looks okay. There is no other genders, only 2 genders. If you like many other genders, then sorry for that. This is the data that is not the data that I created. It's downloaded from Kaggle.com. And then race ID, I do not know what race this is. One for some, maybe, but usually white, black, something like that, right? Asian, Hispanic. There are about number 5. So we don't say which one is what, only by number here. And then manager ID. For example, this guy, Nash, so manager is 1. So that person itself is a manager. So first a few up to this Woodbridge, they are the manager. And then Richardson, the manager to Richardson is number 8, which is the employee ID. So Schutz, Sarah is he's the manager. and there's a 12 manager also. For example, this guy, then Joanna, the manager is number 2, which is Simpson, Raymond. And then date of birth, and then level. I do not know what level this is. I think it's skill set levels, maybe number 1, number 2, number 3, 3 different levels. High skill, the employees, and low skilled employees, things like that. So we have that many the records in this CSV files. Another CSV files is here. There's really long list. I think this one has 9,000 records. What it does is that each employee's performance has been rated. So rate number 1, number 2. So this employee ID number 1, which is Nash K. K's performance rate is number 1, and the employee number 2, which is Raymond. Raymond performance rate is number 2 on this particular date, December 31st, 2015, and there are some other dates conducted. 18, I think every year they have performance ratings, right? 2017 and up to 2023. Therefore, this is not real data, right? But yeah, 2023 December 31st has not yet come, but a performance rating has been conducted and recorded here for the purpose of your data management. But anyway, these 2 files are given on your homework assignments. So the idea is that to your database, you guys already we created the database, Mercy U. Probably you did. If you haven't done that, you need to trace back and redo from the creation of a database. And table-wise, on these homework assignments, we are not relying on any tables that we already created, but newly we will create it here. We will create here. First, user interaction here. User credential files. Remember that our let me bring up. Which ones? Homework. No, this is not this homework. Maybe this. Yeah, I think we did this, right? Last week. Remember that we had this. So we import MySQL.connector, and then we need to connect to our database, Mercy U database through this port. This is the default port number, 3306, and then localhost, and user ID and user password. The last week, in our coding list, we hard coded, put it here, right? This is one way that we did, and the other way that that we tried was we made it in a dictionary, and then we included that dictionary in our connect method. So having these all, that will be exactly the same as this. User equal JYOON, password equal JYOON. If we say star star config, double star as a prefix, means this config is nothing but a dictionary. So config needs to be defined before we use this star star config. So star star config is nothing but config dictionary, which is a value key and value pair. Key is a user and value is JUN, password, host, you name it, right? So this highlighted is nothing but this, okay? So I want to mark here. Correct size. You know what I mean by this, right? Your final is coming soon. All right. So, but the user credential is one of the most significant and sensitive data, right? If you lose your password and log in, then you lose everything. So that is more important than any other application data. Application data is still very, very important, so that your future job is to protect your application data from illegal access. There's a whole thing that we are currently learning. So this credential data is important to get in the system. So far we looked at two ways, right? First way is to hard code it in your system, in your coding list. The other one is you keep it separately in a dictionary. And third one, that's what we are going to do today. That's been asked here. We need to save it in another table. In our case, this is credential. This is exactly the same ones. That dictionary is saved in another file, and then we need to include it. That's what we want to do. That's what I ask you to do here. So you in user interaction, it may ask you to enter your credential file path expression. Okay, that is the first user interactions. These homework assignments ask you to do two user interactions, here and there, number 2 and number 5. And once your Python is authenticated to your system, then you need to get the cursor to execute. You have to display the tables. How many tables are already available on your MercyU database? That's what I want to know. Okay. So each point you need to make sure it should be completed. Question number 4 here. Define the two tables, employee and performance. Employee table data comes from, did I close it? Yeah, I closed it already. So those two CSV files, those the records for employee and performance are available. Those two CSV files that I already posted here. And then you have to read it. Your Python needs to access the CSV files and open and get the data from the CSV files. All right. The CSV files, the column will be the attributes, and attribute type is either integer or text. So what I want you to do is, for employees, employee ID, and I want to say name for that employees. Remember that employees, for example, if I open this guy, this employee ID, and the second column header is imp name, but on your database I want you to say name only, and then department ID, DEPT ID, same as that, and then gender rather than gender ID. I said gender is integer, and race ID integer, manager ID integer, date of birth text, level integer, primary key is employee ID. Someone may ask why date of birth is in text, why not in date? MySQL, including MySQL, almost all the DBMS has a special type for date. But on your, if you want to make your Python program automatically without knowing CSV files, it's very hard to make which one is text, which one is integer, right? So I wanted to make it simple, so all in text. If it is not integer, all in text, okay? So make it simple. But in real application, if you want to the insert data, then type of that date should be date rather than text or character. Keep in mind. And then there is another table in performance, employee ID integer, and then rating integer, and performance evaluation date is also text rather than date. Someone may ask, EID, maybe the foreign key references the employee ID in EMP. That is true. That is perfectly true. I agree with you. But somehow, if I put here foreign key EID and reference employee ID, then employee ID, then this guy, because this is a program, not manually, so somehow some difficulties. If you want to make this automatically, there's no user intervention on your this while execution of this. There's no user interaction. No interaction is required. No interaction is needed. Shouldn't be. If you want to change this, you can change this later by altering. We did that many times. You could do that. But for this automatic creation, I want you to use only these two types, integer and text. And primary key, okay, but foreign key that it complains, here and there. So to avoid such hassle and difficulties at your side, I removed it. Okay. That is my courtesy to you. So make sure, as I said, because this is a Python codings, you have to redo this multiple times, maybe 100 times. At every time, once you create this successfully and you move further, then you have some issues. So if a table already exists, then you drop it. Otherwise, you create it. We looked at this already last week. And another user interaction here. That file needs to be read, right? We have two files. hw4emp.csv and the other one here. But your answer to this inquiry, I want you to enter a series of pairs. Pairs is EMP, this is a dictionary, table name, EMP, followed by data, path expression. So all the data in this CSV files goes into these tables. So first two data with the space delimiter in between, that goes together. And then next two goes together. This is table name followed by the CSV path expression. This CSV path expression, again, depending on your platform. If you're working on Mac, then Mac or Unix, then you can use this. Mac, Unix, Linux, then use this. Windows, then you can use backslash expression, starting with the drive logical name. C drive, then C colon, backslash, or D drive, C colon, D colon, C colon, whatever the device name. Okay. So if you have 10 CSV files to be loaded on your database, each on different table names, then you need to write that here. Table name followed by path expression continually, those two values. Then your Python should handle this. Read the given CSV files to insert one record at a time to the tables. I think I mentioned here, using this tool, I want you to create a dictionary, file dict. Because it's a dictionary. Dictionary is nothing but key and value pairs, right? So file dict, key is table name, value is path expression, enter this. And then key is performance, table name, and value for that key is the path expression. So this, in your code, you have to build this dictionary by reading user entered strings. And then you play with these dictionaries. To populate the tables. Use the for loop, and don't forget to commit the database as you insert. I recommend completing the insertion for one table, commit it, and another insertion for another table, followed by commit executions. Hint here. Since you might have multiple tables to be populated, create the function called reading CSV to populate. This is a function name. This function takes table name and path expressions. Table name and path expressions can be found here in this dictionaries, right? This is a table name. This is a path expression. So take this and call this method, this function, so that you can do as many CSV files as possible automatically. It can go so quick. Once completing a data population, list a number of records for each table. You can do that, right? Select count star from table name, then it'll show you how many records are there. And then finally, display the average of the performance rating for each employees. One note here, since the size of employee's name is different, some employee's name is short, some employee's name is very long, followed by, for each line, followed by the rating, average ratings. It's not really lined up. How you can do that? That is here, display should be handled properly. My comment for this, I want to use the format expression for printing. Remember that the curly braces, that is a placeholder. In the formats, first parameter goes into the first curly brace, and second parameter goes to second curly braces. In the curly braces, I wanted to put colon within the curly brace, colon followed by the size of data, so maximum size. If employee's name is maybe 20 characters or 30 characters, depending upon that number, your display will be aligned that much. So if I give you a demo for that, so quick. Okay, this is the code that I made, and I need to start my MySQL. Here, MySQL. Start. So MySQL is started, and I want to execute this. Execute. The first user interaction is enter the path for your config file. So my config file is this file. Config file is located in that path expression here. So hit enter. So database Mercy contains the following tables. I have a class, cyber students, DEPT, employee, enroll, faculty, performance, students, temp, stud. Because I have been this multiple times, already I have EMP tables and performance tables. EMP, and then I dropped those two tables. Already they are there in this fresh executions. Creating table departments, so I dropped if it is already available. Then after that, I create employee. This is not DPT. Should be performance. But anyway. And another interaction is enter the table and path expressions to build file dictionary called file dict. File name include EMP and performance, while path expression points to those two CSV files. So example for that is EMP and then my path expression, and performance, my path expression. This is real. So if I make copy of this and then enter, that is my answer to this user interactions. Hit to execute. Then watch this, how it runs. Okay. So they all were very nicely lined up, right? For example, Seabrook, Catherine, the average performance rate is 2.5. You can make this only 1 decimal points. This is by default to 4. I didn't clean that up. But anyway, you can do that, right? And then all the way up here. This is a long list. 1,500 employees, maybe big companies. Okay, so there's a query result. Database information. Employee has 1,561 rows populated, and performance has 9,604 rows populated. That's what I ask you to do, right? And then query expressions, query result. So this is your code. I mean, if your code is successfully implemented, then it'll come out like this. All right? And this is the code. Sorry, I don't show entire the coding list, but similar to this. All right? That is the sample runs, very similar to that I showed to you. Remember that all above should be written in one Python files. Submissions, your Python file, one file only. Gradings, grading is made based on the execution of your file as submitted. So please do not submit in Microsoft Word files. I cannot execute it, right? That's what I mean by it. Since your file is user interactive, those data sets should be collected from a user and further processed. Processes will be made. You have plenty of time, 12 days from today, so November 12th. I think next, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. This is a little bit challenging project that I want you to do. Any question if you have a doubt? I think so far you may not have any doubts. But as you do this,
can you like practice this assignment here?
Little bit of those, yeah, we will do. Of course, yeah. That's what we are going to do today.
So I said those data sets should be collected from the user.
User means you enter.
Oh.
You enter, yeah. All right. So lecture for today. we'll look at this. Oops. Why this slideshow? So basically, we need to insert into these things exactly the way that we do here. So we will practice this here. I think we last week we did department and employees, right? Department has DID, name, manager, and the employee has employee ID, name, department, that is the department ID, and salary, those informations. So this is true. What I want to do here, I want to bring that, copy this, and somewhere here, and then department also, salary, up to salary. This is department. Okay. So this is a file, sort of file schema, right? So let's say insert dpt1. We want to express this. Then what is the expression? Insert into department name, department, and then we can say some of that schema. If we follow the schema exactly the way, then we can simply say values, and followed by the list of those values, right? So I want to make this, and it should be DID, integer. So DID may be 1001, department ID, and name of that department, say finance. Finance. Remember that here, this is entire this in quote. If you put here double quote again, then this second double quote is not the first quote for finance string, but this will be treated as the ending quote for the quote we already opened. To avoid that, we need to change it to different quote. Let's say single quote. So entire here, there is a double quote. If you want to make any quotation to value, because this is the varchar, 7 character, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, perfectly 7. Finance, and then manager is the employee ID. So we can say 100. That is the manager. We can enter like this, right? For the execution of the employees. And then we can do cursor. Cursor is the cursor that is an object that we created here, right? From the connector. from connector, there's a cursor function that gives us an object of the cursor. We receive it as this variable cursor. So we simply use that cursor object. You name it differently. And cursor and execute. In the execution, we can do insert DEPT1. All right. That's what we want to do. See how it goes. Okay, so this can be done from this improve. So from this double pound sign, this will be another the file, so that we can execute this. Execute it. Unknown table mercy you employee, because I think it is already dropped. Employee create employee create. Yeah, I think we should do this again also. Probably that is may not be available. To check manually, we go to USR local MySQL bin MySQL jyun password jyun use mercy you show tables. Yeah, there is no employees. EMP, this is your project. So we have to run this also. Maybe from here. So entire from here, I'm going to run, execute, table department. That is not also. Because I said the drop here, because there is no drop, I would simply, for this, forget about that. Okay, here, cannot drop employees. Oh, cannot drop employees. So where did I drop employees? Oh, because of these modifications again here. That's what we had the difficulty the last time, right? Let's do this. And I think system is home. Employee and department created. Employee, there is a foreign key. Department. There is also a foreign key. So this guy wants to see each other. So to avoid that, I want to stop this shell, interrupt, and then restart. All right. And then forget about this alter. Foreign key from department to employees. We have only department has the primary key DID, and employee has the primary key employee ID and foreign key DID, not cyclic. Okay. That way we can make it. Okay. That's good. Cannot add or update to child row. Foreign key constraints fails. So what did I want to enter here? I said here department. Oh, there is no department has a foreign key. So I need to do, before I do this, employee needs to be created, right? According to this. No, department can exist before, because the manager is not necessarily for that, right? But somehow, oh, here, why I have this again here? I have 2 times of those. Okay, save this. So this is double times. So department has a department ID that exists, and then employees. We didn't include employees yet, but department only. Why this hold? So interrupt and restart and re-execute. See what happens. Cannot drop table employee, cannot drop table employees. Drop. Because of this guy. So let's see what happens here. Department already exists. This guy's that is a little bit hectic, right? What you made here, because of that foreign keys. So in your homework assignments, I do not ask you to do any the foreign key constraints. No exercises here. Let's make it simple. Today we did this last time, but let's make it clean. Clean the code first. We need to create, let's see, from here backward. Table. Okay. Yeah, we are doing this. Why do we need above? See what happens. So we did this. Let's do the second part only. interrupt, and restart. Okay. So let's see what happens here. Database, and we do configure the credentials. Table dictionaries, we create DPT and employees. So department table and employees, department that and employees that. There's no foreign keys. And then we connect, we execute this if that exists. Other than that, we create tables and then do this. Okay, only this. From here, this will be the code that we were going to execute. All right. Okay, in this case, cannot drop employees. Employee may not be available because, but we said here drop. So let's skip this. You don't need to drop it, but execute it. What happens here? Table already exists. Create table. Table already exists. Let's do this manually. Show tables. So we want to drop employee and department. So drop table employee reference. There's a foreign key references constraints that exists already. So alter table tables employees DID is references that. So alter table employees drop constraint department IB FK underscore 1. I think that does not exist. Then what is the problem? Department. Is it in department? If we do that in the department, okay, that is, then I can drop employee is dropped, and drop table department, that is dropped. So there is no employees and department. Okay, so we don't need to drop this, but create only. This is a table information. I think it should work. So hit it. Okay, execute, insert DPT. Okay, then we will have this business only. Insert DPT, execute. Cursor is not connected. Oh, we need to make a cursor. Okay. So we need to bring the cursor. Where can you get the cursor? We need to have this. Cursor is not available. So, oh, we have a cursor here. Oh, because we already, there's a cursor. Cursor only here. Okay, so we better have this inside of this. Okay. All right. And to avoid because we already have table DPT and employees already created, so to avoid any hassles, we want to skip this the table creation because we already created. So we're going to use tables already created. What we want to do here is only insertions. So I made comment these statements so that there may be no complaints about that. Oh, nice. So that may be created. So if we put here select start from department, what happens is department employee duplicate entry 1001 for department primary key. Duplicate. Oh, already? But it's not available. Let's make this again. Duplicate entry 1002 for department primary key. I didn't make any department. What happens? This is something wrong. Inserts into department values. So we have DID. $1,002 for department to primary. We do not have that primary keys. Yeah. We should not have that here. But anyway. This guy is complaining about DPT, not that ones. Yeah. Okay, therefore we need to redo this entire. So we have to drop. So manually we will drop table department. Reference of foreign key. Because of that foreign key issues always. Employee in the department. Okay, so drop employee. Department. All right. Okay, so let's make it clear. So as I ask you to do in your homework assignments, so department has only the primary key, and the employee has only the primary key. There is no foreign keys. Now we need to create those tables, and I want to insert this. In that way, there is no foreign key constraints enforced. I hope it should go.
Says duplicate entry.
Why employees again? There's no yeah, department has this guy entered here successfully 1002 finance and 100, that's already there, but foreign key guys, I think this database somehow, I do not know why, maybe commit issue. So cnx dot commit. Commit is in connector, not the cursor itself. Duplicate the entry 1002 for the department primary. We do not ask any here, but why this is still. So select from employees, of course there is nothing. Description of employees. Employee has EID only. And the schema of department. Only the primary keys. So employee duplicate entry 1002 for the primary keys. Somehow I want to restart the database. It still holds the previous database. So I want to stop this database. And then restart. Okay. And I want to enter. So I have department and employees. That is already defined. And I want to add more. To do that, I do not need to create table again and again, but I want to enter this. So similarly, what I want to do here, I want to put employees. So employee, and I would like to do this emp1. Employee has employee ID, name, department, and salary. So employee ID 100, similar to this, and then name of that maybe James, department ID and salary. Department ID not necessarily 102, but let's put that there. We don't need to, it could be 1000 possible, because there is no foreign key constraints applied. And then salary, 500,000. No, that's too much. 50. Okay. So we execute EMP1. Okay. And execute it. Not sure why that happens. Select star from employees. Oh, employee is not. Does not exist. Department. Okay. Employee 1,002 for department. Why still this primary key is still exist? Table DEPT. That's not the table that we are creating. Table DEPT. We're not working on DEPT table, right? EMP. We are working on employee and DE department. This comes from somewhere. DEPT. I think that's because of the same database. Complain for others. So I want to drop table DEPT. Drop table EMP. By the way, EMP is our DEPT EMP performance. Okay. This DEPT is related with the student. So some other, because they are in the same database. What I want to do to make it clear, I want to make it separate tables. I mean, yeah, database. So create database mercy u2. Okay, that is created. So I want to make this mercy u2. I want to work on this clean database. Mercy u2. Create table. So I want to make a create table. Mercy u2, department and employees, and okay. All right. So go to, let's work on the new database, Mercy u2. Execute. Employee does not exist. That's fine. Create table DEPT. Is there a create table DEPT somewhere here? Something that we do not see? Create table DEPT. That comes out. Create table DEPT, create table EMP. Table did I use another table dict somewhere?
Yeah, table dict, you put dict
Where?
right there. Isn't that table dict in quote EMP and then create table if not existent value? And then a row is the same thing, dpt.
No, this is only the key for this dictionaries.
Oh, okay.
Let's find out here. Key for dictionary. Did I create table? Oh, yeah. Oh, this is naming issue. Yeah. It's not really a big issue, but this message comes from that mislead us. Employee that mislead us. Creating that is already exist. So let's put here use mercy u2 show tables. We have that DSC department. Nice. DSC employee. All right. Select star from department. Employee hasn't been in yet. Okay, and one more execution. Then we need to do remove that, and then I want to make this new department and do this employee. Employee is first employee, so that'll be okay. All right, so run it. This guy says what? Oh, I have that, you guys, right? Department duplicate entries 1003 or key department primary. Department primary 1003. Department. What about department? Yeah, department, we have that. So we are good now. Okay, but thing is this, because we have this primary keys, if we redo this, then we have that primary key constraint issues. So every time that once it is successfully done, then you need to skip this. Otherwise, this will come more and more. So make these comments, and if we want to do, this should be fresh new ones. So I want to do here department 2 and employee 2, and then this guy needs to be the department 04, and employee is 101, and salary is 6,000, and department is 1,002, for example. Then and also this guy should do number 2 and number 2, and should work. And when I come back here to see department, I have 1004 up to this, all finance, sorry for that. And employees, I have again James, 1002 and 60,000 salaries. Okay, so we keep having that. once it is done, if you want to avoid the duplication issue, then you need to skip this manually, right? But that is not what we want to do, by the way. So what I want to do here, two things. This configurations, because this guy here configurates. So I want to remove this configurates. If you want to include this, what you need to do is you need to have this from past.built-ins. You need to import the module execute files, exec files. Okay, so you need to import these files, exec files, and before you get these config files, then you need to do exec file, open and close parenthesis. Here, you need to put this path expression should be entered here. But in our case, I ask you to make this more user interactive. But manually, as a demonstration, I put that here. Okay. So if I want to do once more about this, it'll work. So I will do here department 3, here third expression, and then department, I want to make this one more department, 5. It's not finance, but I would say IT department. What is 100? Manager is 1,000 and still 1,000, 1001. This James, and this is 1002. I would say Chris, and this guy is working on 1005. Salary is 700, and then I want to put more of those, more and more. Maybe, oops, I want to make this copy of this, and 3 at a time. So 1002, 1003, and 1004, and 1005. More employees. And then Chris, Adam, Peter, Dave, department 105, 75,000, and 104, Peter, and department is, oh, this should be 102, 103, and 104, 105. This is employee ID, right? And then department where that person works. Peter works at 103 maybe, and 105 works. Dave works at 105 IT, and I would say 90,000. And that many creates. So we can do this again. Then we have more employees. Do we have 105? No. Here you have an error, manual. Oh, because of that. Chris, Adam, Peter. Dave. Oh, because of this comma. Okay, so then we have more employees and more department. So we have IT department and Dave, Peter, Adam, Chris. So more employees. Okay, we could do that. So in that way, we included the external file, external credential files to connect. We practice that and multiple more data. And then we will work on the Excel files. So what I want to do here, I want to say copy this to create a file here, and the employees as a sample CSV files. CSV is comma separated data, right? Comma separated value. So I made this comma separated value manually, but you don't need to do that. I already posted that. You can use. And then I would say here 7, 8, 9, 10. One more Chris, Adam, Bob, Peter, Smith, Dave, David, and working for similar of those. Their salary goes to ending with 1. That way it'll be a little different. I want to save this. Save this as. This will be any files. So file name is CSV, sample ESV. Where are we going to save this? We need to save that Jaeyun. Okay, Mercy, five to 5 program Python to MySQL, and I want to save here and get the copy back here. Okay. So I want to use that. So this is already done. So I want to make this again up to this. Save this somewhere here for a second. And the one that I want to receive somewhere here. I want to receive for Panda. Okay. and I want to use CSV Panda. Yeah. So back here, receive this Panda. So import to Panda, and when it comes to here, Panda dot read underscore CSV. I think it should. Is it possible? PD dot read CSV. Yeah, that is possible. So I want to read this entire file. Okay. And then PD, and as we read this, I want to make this CSV file and read the CSV file and print CSV file. I don't need to do this here. I want to make this separately here. Enter. That works. And then print. Very nicely, I have that. So if I do for each in CSV file print each, see what happens. Then I would have one at a time, right? 107 crease that and that. One at a time. That is this. If I print CSV file, CSV, no, type CSV file. So I want to see what is the type of that. That is Panda data frame. So we need to use this. So for each in CSV file, no, I'm not going to use that here. I am going to copy. No, we need to execute somewhere here. Just practice. Not this. This came here. We need to do somewhere here. Okay. We don't need to. Okay. And instead, I want to bring this here for your exercise. So Panda can read this, and then we can do for loop here. For each in CSV file, and we want to make, for example, tuple record to insert is a tuple, okay, and then temporary file is the list of that record to REC record to inst. I want to make a list so that we can enter, for example, temp dot append each. We append it, and then print, and then we change it back to the tuple. So record to inst, so tuple, temp can be changed to tuple, and print record to inst. See what happens. Yeah, this is very nicely we made this, right? Remember that here? This is the one thing that we need to make sure, this is not this should be integer, this should be, there is all in, yeah, we have 107. Why we have this? Integer should be integer, and and then we want to see here, you know what, I want to make this so that you can use this function as I made. So I put it here, I want to call it, and then when I call that, this is a file. So actually I want to call this, make this reading CSV. When I call this table name, for example, EMP, and then this is a CSV files. So I simply call it, and then what this guy has done is table name EMP, and file path expression, this is file expression, and then read the files. Header is 0, header is 1, but in our case there is no header, so we can say 0. And then this df, there's a iteratively we look at the rows. Right now we look at only one row, right, from that. So we want to do iteratively. And then in row came up. For each row, I want to append that to this temporary list, and then I change it back to the tuple, and that tuple is inserted into that tables. Remember, this is a tuple formats like this, that is inserted, and execute these statements until when we end up this whole. So right now, yeah, we don't use this I, but this iterative rows returns the tuples. First element is a number of rows, second element is a row content. So we use this row content to create that. I think this This is something that we could do, right? So if I execute this, but we didn't include any of this. So what I want to do here, I want to copy this in somewhere here. Okay. And then the way that I want to call, I want to make this call in here. I do not want to execute that here once again. I want to make that here. And then this is a CNS commit. We already had that. I think we didn't make a commit here. So that anyway, we will do here. So we execute that. So see what happens. So department mercy employee exists. So this is something we don't need to worry about. So let's see, employee is what did we have? Create employees table, employees does not exist. Table does not exist. Oh, because of employee. We should put here employees, not employee. Employee, right? We are working on employee. Employee. We put that there. Okay. And hit enter. Oops, what happens? Employee does not. Creating table. Do we create again? No, we don't create here. What is employee and okay. File employee. Oh, EMPLOYEE. Employee. Yeah, that is created furthermore, right? But somehow 108 for key employees, primary keys, whatever that. Why 108 is the issue. Duplicate, because I tried to enter multiple times. 108, 109, 110. So 107 not created. Oh, because this is treated as a header. But anyway, you need to do that. Only that's a minor issue. So we entered that by calling, by reading from a file. This is a file. That's what you need to do, right? Finally, what we want to do is we want to this guy is inside this. Try. We need to make this outside. Why we want to try this? Create tables. But anyway, somehow this. So outside here, Now we want to do another statements, query statement. Statement 1, let's say select star from employees. And then we do cursor in this. So that should be inside this, yeah. And then cursor dot execute, and then query statement 1. And then cursor dot fetch all. If we fetch all, for each in fetch all, once we execute this query statements, that is in this cursor points to that, and we fetch all the records resulted from this execution, and then if we can do print each, then that'll be executed. To do this, I want to comment this, so we don't need to redo this, but I want to do this. Okay. Okay. Okay, now we have employees. Where is it? Yeah, query. Select stuff from employees. So employees data returned in a tuple format. These are returned here. So if we want to write it in each line, this is each line, right? If you want to write it somehow saying I want to write it 0, that is first ID, and the employee ID. But if you want to make it name, let's do here employees and name is whatever the name is, and then tab, and you can say earns some of the dollar from search department, and then format, and you say employee, whatever the name employee, owns, which is this is an index 0, 1, 2, 3. Third one is the salary, so you can say each, the third one, that person is in the department number, whatever the department, right? So you can say each of those two formats. Okay, so see what happens. We need to have one more parenthesis, and you can say name James owns 50,000 from 100 department. So if you want to spell this out, 100 department, then you need to join, right? From employees and then what is the department? Okay, and department. I want to skip this for a while, and then we need to do print each, so that we redesign this index number. See what happens here in this case. So doing that, we need to have join conditions. where employee E and department D, where employees DPT equals DID. So employee dot DPT equals department dot DID.
Because
Hmm?
you wrote department D. Say department D. Select from employee E department D where
Yeah. And then we can run it. Then we have very nicely, right? So what we want to do is this is index 1. So rather than this print statements, we'll open this print statements, name and each one. This is index 1, 2, 3. 3 is salary, that is fine. 3, 4, 5. 5 is the department name itself. From this join expression. So if I run this, then looks better here. James on 60,000 from employee department, right? What I let you know here, rather than this, because we have here tab, then because of this size of name, we have different indentations, right? Different tabbings. To avoid that, what we want to do here, colon and for example 10 spaces, then it'll be very nicely lined up like this. All from here there, that is 10 characters. So this guys all lined up. The way that you can do is like this. I think this is all you need for. So what we have done today, almost 5 o'clock. What we have done today, SQL-embedded Python, we still created the tables, populate data in many different ways. Remember that here, population, initially, each individual records can be populated, and also multiple records can be populated. But as you run this in Python, please make sure that if there is a primary key constraint, then this keep complaining to you because you redo to the insertions, right? So make sure that you have to comment that out like this. They're all comments. And then if you want to read that from file, CSV files, then you need to use, you need to include, you need to import the Panda, and Panda has a read CSV files, so that you can read it. Okay, and then you can execute it. You may use this as is, or if you can do whatever that you want to do. In this, while you are doing this for loop, you construct the statements, insertion statements, insert into placeholder values placeholder. First placeholder, there's a table name. Second placeholder is the tuple that you created, like this. So that each tuple can be inserted into a table. Okay, you execute this cursor execution for each row of the file that you read from CSV files. Okay, that's what we have done. Once your records are enough populated, then we can execute queries. So in our executions, we manually made SQL statements and then execute it. Once you execute it, then you can, because this cursor points to the result of that query execution, using that cursor, you can fetch all the records from there and consider one record at a time, which is each. So as you look at from rough print statements, find out which column that you want to use using index access, and then you can display it. That's what we had in the homework assignments sample run that I gave to you. Any question? This is a little bit of a challenging, but I give you all the techniques that you guys need. So take time, practice first, and then, well, as you practice, you can complete your homework assignments. This homework assignments covers pretty much all the aspects of SQL-embedded Python coding. Only one missing here is the graphical user interface. You can do this in graphical user interface, but we will see how much that we could do. Okay, this is the end of SQL-embedded Python coding.